Norfolk County Council meeting, we discussed the motion that the Labour group had put up on the fire and rescue service in Norfolk. As everybody knows, over the last few months, the fire and rescue service and all the emergency services have been brought into sharp relief by events, tragic events, around the country. We thought it was time that it was debated in public, not just in committee, to give reassurance to the people of the county. This was certainly not an intention to inflame emotions, but to reflect the concerns that people have. Now, what we know is that over the last few years there have been cuts in the budget for the fire service. There are concerns about how it will manage in future. It is a really effective, a really efficient fire service, one of the best in the country. But the numbers of full-time firefighters have reduced, the numbers of retained firefighters have reduced. There comes a point where we have to say enough is enough. Now, we know the leader of Norfolk County Council has written to the government expressing concerns about the amount of funding cuts that there have been. Doubtless that letter will become public in due course and we'll find out what he really said, so we'll see. But the motion that Labour put up today called for protection of fire service budgets, called for protection of the numbers of staff fighting fires but also in control rooms and supporting the firefighting effort, called for recognition of the statutory recognition of the responsibility that the fire and rescue service take for floods, and floods are clearly a major concern in the county. We called for a letter to go to the government asking for additional funding to be looked at for sprinklers for public buildings and schools. We called for opposition to the Police and Crime Commissioner taking over the running of the fire and rescue service. We don't think that a remote commissioner is a good idea. We want locally accountable or locally elected representatives to continue to look after the fire and rescue service and reflect the concerns of the county. All sensible measures, all sensible things that we think everybody should be able to get behind. The Conservatives voted against all of them. So Labour, joined by the Liberal Democrats, voted for those, but the Conservatives voted against protecting budgets, voted against going for statutory recognition for flooding responsibilities, voted against keeping fire stations open, despite in their election manifesto saying no ifs, no buts, they would protect the fire service. But today they voted against that motion. We will continue to hold in great esteem the fire and rescue service, the people who work for it, the trust that it has engendered within the county. We will continue to fight to protect, to develop our fire service, because there are future concerns. This is a fast developing county. We have many new houses, many new jobs coming to the county that will put additional stresses and pressures on the service. We are down to the bone, but bones aren't just what's left over once the flesh is taken away. Bones give service shape. We want to stand on our own 2 feet, and our 2 feet are made of bones too. So we will be fighting for the service, for the county, for the funding. And I do wish that the Conservatives had taken the opportunity to show that they meant what they said in their manifesto and had expressed the trust that we're expressing in the fire and rescue service by voting for the motion. They didn't. They voted against. I think it's a shame.